Hey you guys, we're back with another video and check it out. I don't know how, I don't know why, but my counter started working again. But as you can see, my handle flew off, but we're gonna make sure that we are on a circular setting to cast on scrap yarn. So I always start my projects off with scrap yarn because it's just easier to bind off and it just makes a cleaner piece when it's connected. So now I'm just going to switch it back up to the panel setting, and it's just going to go in the right way. So the reason why I put circular at first is because it wouldn't let me go past the black needle when I initially tried to crank it. So this is an easy little hack to, cast on. After casting on the scrap yarn, I do 3 rows of the scrap yarn, and when you get to the black needle, you're not going to go in and out of the black needle because when you're doing a panel, you really don't care about the black needles. So I'm about to crank make sure it's all the way, and I'm going back and I'm making sure that I'm pulling that yarn so that it's not loose. So you don't want it to be loose, or your ends or your pieces, they're gonna look ugly. And the same thing when I get to the other side. I'm going to go all the way until it stops, and then I'm going to pull that yarn and go the other direction. And I always want to make sure that I catch that first pin, because if you miss it, your whole piece is it's not going to look right. So I'm going to add the scrap yarn for a total of 3 rows, and then I'm going to add the yarn that I'm using for my project. So I'm not with nobody, cause I don't wanna hurt nobody. Did it over text, didn't call me. Still got love for your mommy. I know you wanna be somebody, even if you gotta leave somebody. Now I'm just cutting the scrap yarn. It doesn't really matter how long the length is, but I'm gonna close the pin, and then I'm gonna go to the white needle. And once I get to that white needle, I'm gonna grab the yarn that I'm working with, and I'm going to put it in the hole. And I do want to make sure that I have a decent sized tail before I put it in there too. So now we're just going to crank like normal. So of course we're going to the left first, and we are going to work on row 1. So if you can see, I'm gonna zoom in, but right here the yarn got caught in between the needles. So you want to make sure that you catch that stuff to make sure that it doesn't look crazy on the edges. And we're going to pull that yarn taut, and just going to go like normal until we get to the other side. And now that we're on the other side, we're going to repeat the same thing. So right now I'm making a shrug, so I'm about to do a total of 100 rows for this piece that I'm doing. I won't be around while you chase. Now I'm placing the yarn that I'm working on inside of the knitting machine and grabbing the scrap yarn. So I'm going to close the clasp again, and then I'm going to go to the white needle, and I'm going to open the clasp and put the scrap yarn in, and I'm going to do 3 rows of scrap yarn. Now that I'm finished, I'm going to switch the knitting machine back to circular knitting setting, and I'm going to bind off. And there you have it. Let me know if this video helped. Like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you.